Go ahead.
And welcome into another edition of our Monday Baseball Chat, otherwise known as Press Box Live. I'm Stan the Fan of Press Box and PressBoxOnline.com. With us is Luke Jackson wearing, well, they're both wearing glasses without the hat.
There
Luke
you go.
Jackson, although he's got a lot of hats on his wall, but he's not wearing a hat. That's Luke Jackson, the managing editor of Press Box, PressBoxOnline.com. And of course, the old left-hander, and he's wearing a unique Baltimore T-shirt.
Can you guys see it?
We can see the top of
All right, here
Baltimore,
you go. Here you go.
There it
Let's
is.
do that.
and that is Kiss.
Oh yeah,
Where did you get that shirt?
I got it probably 6 months ago, something like that.
Wow,
Six months a year or whatever.
That's a pretty unique shirt there.
I was a Kiss fan. I saw them and I got backstage with them in Montreal in 1979, I think.
Wow.
And they were fantastic. They treated my son and his cousin extremely well. That was really really nice of them. And
Was that when you were with the Expos?
yes, yeah.
And did any of your teammates go with you to that concert?
No, just some of my friends and my son and his cousin. His cousin was, I think, 10, and my boy was 6, 7, something like that. They were amazed,
That's a
So
great
it was
thing.
neat.
Luke, is that a great dad? He takes his 6-year-old son to a Kiss concert.
It's a great story, man.
Great.
And to see like real true rock stars like that, I mean, your
Hey,
son was probably blown away.
The show was, with all the fireworks and what have you. It was pyrotechnics. Yeah, it was amazing. So anyway,
did they return the favor? Did they come out to see you at Olympic Stadium?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No, they didn't do that. But I did get pictures of us backstage with them, and that was pretty neat.
So Ross Grimsley wasn't to Kiss quite what Bill Walton was to the Grateful Dead. Not quite.
Probably not.
Okay.
Probably
All
not.
right, gotcha. All right.
Probably not.
All right. Well, gentlemen, let's let our viewers know that we are brought to you by the Costas Inn with 2 great locations. One, the original location, 4100 North Point Boulevard. That's where you want to make your plans to eat crabs. They serve steamed crabs there and the same great menu that they've had for oh so many years. They've been there for 54, 55 years at 4100 North Point Boulevard. Phone number 410-477-1975. And you need to call ahead of time to reserve your crabs, find out the size, the price, and the availability. So your crab feast comes off without a snafu. That's at the old location. The new location has a great menu, just no steamed crabs. They're open both locations for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. The Costas Inn. Family atmosphere, a lot of fun, and terrific, terrific food. We give them all 2 thumbs up, which equals 6 thumbs for the Costas Inn.
6, 7, 8.
That second location is located above the grandstand at Timonium Racecourse at State Fairgrounds, and that is right next to the OTB. We're also brought to you by Warnken Law, WARNKEN, warnkenlaw.com, or the phone number 443-RESULTS. If you've been injured in an accident in the Baltimore area or the state of Maryland, Warnken Law is who you want to turn to for the best representation. Warnken Law, 443-RESULTS. Guys, we are now exactly 1 month away from the trade deadline. About 2 weeks ago, Mike Elias had that presser and that he does outside the dugout, I guess. I wasn't there. But he said at the time that we're going to be buyers at the deadline. Of course, as events warrant. The club has played 18 games since they went on that West Coast trip. They are 8-10. They seem to either lose 2 out of 3 in a lot of series and occasionally win 2 out of 3. But 8-10, that's not playing like you really mean business.
No, it isn't. And I mean, they're playing just well enough to stay in the wild card mix, and they're playing poorly enough to not be taken seriously.
Yeah.
And as we were saying prior to coming on the air, a serious ball club sweeps Cincinnati this past weekend. The Reds have been playing as poorly as any team in baseball since about May 1st. Won the first 2 games playing really good baseball. Actually left some meat on the bone offensively in the Saturday game. Could have scored 11 or 12 runs easily in that game. And then it's just kind of a low energy Sunday afternoon game.
Yep.
And that's been the case all. If you think back to the West Coast trip that you just brought up, they were on a 3-game winning streak. They played probably their 2 most complete games of the year, the Sunday game at Dodger Stadium and the Monday evening game in Anaheim. And then they're facing a guy with a 12 ERA. And it's another one of those sleepy efforts. And that's been the story all year, that they've got a 3-game winning streak. They got a chance to really get rolling, and then one of them deals. And so yesterday was a little bit of another.
Yep. It sure was. And inexplicably to me, I don't know. I like the fact that Craig Alvarez likes to communicate with his players, but I saw no reason to leave Kyle Bradish in to get one more batter. What was he trying to prove? And he gave up a very important run, as luck would have it.
I totally agree with you, Stan. It's not Kyle Bradish's decision to decide whether he wants one more batter. You're the manager. You make that decision.
Right. It seems all too often Craig Alvarez wants the players' input. And at a certain point, you're the leader. You got to make, he made that rash decision 2 weeks ago in Anaheim to pull
Trey Gibson.
Trey Gibson out. Didn't ask him his opinion of that, but he wanted to defer yesterday, and it cost them an important run that they might have tied the game up with.
Right.
Same thing happened with Rogers, several weeks ago, or maybe a month ago, when they left him in the game, and first game back for a while. So yeah, you kind of scratch your head what he's guessing for here.
So assuming with a month to go to the trade deadline, they've only got 6 more games. Even if they win all 6, they will be 2 games under 500 at the break.
1, yeah, 48 and 49, yeah.
Aren't they 41 and 49, or are they 42?
Right. I think they're
41 and 49.
41 and 49, right?
So if they win
42.
6, they'd be
Oh,
47.
Yeah.
Don't they have 71 games left?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's
anyway,
42, 49, yeah.
It seems like the trade deadline talks are starting to occur now. It would seem like they are not going to be in a serious position to contend to want to suddenly trade 2 or 3 prospects that you have, like Boston Bateman or any of the good prospects that they have. And there's not that many really that I see at the upper level. So the question, and I wrote a column about it today, Luke, what do they have really to trade right now that makes sense? Most notably, it seems like the 2 players you're hearing most about are Trevor Rogers and Taylor Ward.
Right. And those guys have been discussed ad nauseum, so I won't bring up those guys. But you brought up a very interesting name for a team that could be interested in pitching, and that's Dean Kramer.
Yeah.
Dean Kramer has a year and a half of team control left. He should be pretty fresh for the second half because he missed much of the first half with the quad injury. And he has shown himself capable of pitching big games late in the regular season, and not so much in the postseason, obviously.
Right.
And is someone that, when he's right, will eat up a lot of innings for you for cheap. And actually,
He seems like the perfect player for the Cubs.
it's funny that you mentioned Dean because last year Buck Showalter was actually on Glenn Clark Radio and brought him up sort of out of the blue as a potential trade piece, and that was when he had 2.5 years of club control left. And I don't know if the Orioles are going to go down that road, because if you deal away Dean, then that means you punch a hole in the rotation for 2027, assuming there is a 2027 season. But that was a very interesting name that you brought up that I had forgotten about.
Now I brought him up, but I brought him up as a guy that I would hold on to.
Right, right. But I had forgotten that he was getting so close to free agency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have shown no inclination to scratch even discussing
Right,
any short-term or long-term commitment to Dean Kramer.
right. So that
Which
was
which makes me think that he could possibly be available.
And the other name that you brought up that I thought was pretty interesting. First of all, I thought I keep forgetting that Andrew Kittredge is part of the expiring contract crew.
Yeah.
That you could very easily see him on the way out. They won't get much, but they can
No.
move him. He's a veteran reliever who has pitched a lot of big innings in the past, with the Cubs last year, with Tampa Bay in the past. But the other very interesting name that you brought up was Yennier Cano, who's got 2.5 years of club control left. He's not making much money. He won't make much money because it's not like he's racking up saves that he could take to court and arbitration. And he gets a lot of ground balls, and he's defending himself a lot better against left-handed hitters this year than certainly the past 2 years. And it seems like that splitter is working for him. And yeah, I could absolutely see him being of interest to other teams.
Ross, Taylor Ward, his Oriole career started off really kind of exciting, that they had a guy that worked the count, and he still maintains a very high on base percentage, but his OPS is like in the low 600s, I think. Not really that impressive. And Luke used the expression to me off air last week that he's a little bit low energy. And the more I've watched him as the season's gone on, the discipline that he's shown at the plate really starting to annoy me is not the right word, but it's just, I see a very passive player rather than a guy that's trying to wreak havoc on the opposition. Your thoughts?
No, you're absolutely right. He's an average outfielder at best, and
Yeah.
your corner outfield has really been. And they knew this coming in. How would you not know that? So that really affects a lot of things. But yeah, like you said, yeah, he is really a kind of a low energy like guy. He shows that. Maybe he's not, but he shows that. And like I said, the corner outfield has been a problem. I think cows are in center field. If they could ever find a way, and that's like all of these guys. I mean, you got 5 first-round picks that really haven't improved over their time. Something's wrong here, and I got my own ideas about what it is. But I mean, if they can ever get these guys to hit and get on the right track, then you
who are
got.
going to give those ideas to? Ella? You're going to tell Ella
probably.
those
That's
ideas?
the only person that wants to listen. They don't want to hear from me or anybody else who's played the game.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. But yeah, it's he's a guy that can move. I think Kramer's a guy that would really be, I think, interesting for teams. He's a strike thrower, and there ain't, everybody. There's a lot of guys that a lot of different teams are mostly throwers, and he's a guy I think would really fit in. But again, what do you go for? We talked about this earlier. What do the Orioles have to win to get in the playoffs, the wild card? And 85, 86 games, that means they're going to have to play 600 or better baseball, and that ain't going to happen. I mean,
When's the last time they played 600 in a month?
This team's got to win.
A while.
This team's got to win 45 of like 71, 73 games or something like that.
Yeah, and like we were saying, prior to coming on the air, they finally have their starting rotation in a place where they've had a chance to have a competitive start each and every night. It's just that the lineup's been pretty inconsistent. The Cincinnati series I thought was a perfect example. They only scored 3 the first night, should have scored like 11 or 12 the second night, and then they don't do much on Sundays. So, and then the bullpen, as we know, it's down Helsley now. It might be down Aiken as well for a long time, and so we'll just have to see if they can find any sort of consistency as a team. They haven't all year, so I don't know why it would start now.
No. Well, you know, with the bullpen, that's going to mean Cano's going to have to pitch more. And I don't know if you want that, because they've been picking situations to put him in.
Yeah,
Not
they
to
look for
expose him.
right-handed pockets for him.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was texting with Stan during the game on Saturday when Cano came in. Sometimes all teams can do, especially right-handed hitters, is pound a sinker directly into the dirt, and it creates some very strange ground balls. And this team sometimes defensively doesn't really help them out a whole lot.
No,
So, um, so, yeah.
that's an issue as well.
Yeah,
That's a
I
big
tell you
issue
what,
as
if I
well.
were a team with a strong infield defense, maybe like a Chicago who's looking for relief help, he would be someone I would check in on for
Yeah, I
sure.
mean, you talk about the Cubs, for example. The Cubs, you dangle them Kramer and Cano in the same deal. I mean, they're down. Their pitching staff is in tatters right now. They've got so many injured players. You might be able to get a nice return for Kramer and Cano. And again, I'm in favor of keeping Kramer, but I think packaging a couple of these guys might be the way to go if you're going to look to do anything. Because I don't see the return for Ward being particularly significant one way or the other.
The Phillies are talking about him, aren't they? Or that's the
They're
rumor.
talking about him, but they need more of a right fielder than a left fielder, and I think he'd be very problematic. I think he'd be very problematic, Ward, in playing any other position in the outfield than left field. Luke, you agree with that?
Yes, I think he's a left fielder, DH type only. As you
Yeah,
mentioned in your piece, he does not have the arm strength to play right. He barely has the arm strength to play left.
right.
And his routes on balls are
Or
strange at times.
yeah,
Circuitous.
circuitous.
There you go. That's
Yeah,
a nicer way to put it.
Ooh.
yeah, yeah. And he's not a DH, so he doesn't fit with Philadelphia to me because they got Kyle Schwarber going to DH every game. Um, I don't know what the return would be for Ward. Having said that, I still give Mike Elias credit for rolling the dice and making a fairly obvious move away from Grayson Rodriguez.
Yeah.
That
And
trade that trade wasn't so much Taylor Ward for Rodriguez as Boz for Rodriguez.
right.
He pointed out when those deals were made.
Right. And I think they were probably searching for more power than Ward has given them for
Yep.
sure. I don't think that they traded for him with the idea that he would be a walk merchant. Um, I think they traded for him with the idea that he was going to hit a lot of balls out of the park,
Yep.
and that hasn't materialized. And like we were saying, I think last week they're going to have to sit down and evaluate. Look, if this is how it's going to go for Taylor the rest of the year, is this someone we would be interested in giving a qualifying offer to?
Right.
And if it is, and you think he'll turn it down, if you're going to then trade him, if you opt to trade him, you got to get something back in return that's better than the 30 something pick in the next year's draft.
Yeah.
And or maybe they wouldn't want to go the qualifying hour for route with Ward and they're ready to move on. I don't know.
I'm seeing a deal for an advanced minor league arm would make a lot of sense. And I'm not even talking about a starting pitcher, but somebody that they haven't been able to develop for that bullpen. That's what I would think his trade value. I mean, I saw this proposed trade that a Nathan Skidmore. He writes for one of the Yahoo or one of
Okay.
those. And I noticed he writes like a column every day about the Orioles, and it's pure clickbait.
Right.
Nothing against whether he can write or not, but they're clearly intended like, oh, let me. So he had this idea that the Orioles would trade the Phillies Mayo and Ward for Painter from
Yeah,
the,
saw it. Yeah.
Oh,
and I'm
it's with
going,
the idea of
why would the Orioles want to take a chance? Like, and he goes, it would give them time. First of all, Painter's in the minors now
right,
and has like a 6 ERA,
right.
and it
You
says it
can't
would
throw
give him some.
strikes.
Yeah, well, he's coming back from Tommy John, you know. So I mean, he's somebody that's interesting, but I wouldn't give up Mayo and Ward for Painter.
And why would the Phillies trade for Mayo? Because
They
Bohm's going to
said
be a
that
free agent at the end of the year.
they said that he could possibly be a replacement for Bohm or something like that.
I'll tell you
The
what,
whole concept.
If Philly has thoughts about Alec Bohm's glove,
Yeah,
they're going to really have thoughts about Kobe Mayo's glove. Let me
right.
tell you, right?
Not his glove that's as bad as his arm now, which is all purely mental. When Kobe makes a nice clear play on a ball and then throws it in third to
I
peel
think
off.
Kobe's glove needs to stay in a small market.
Yeah,
Put it that way.
like Tampa.
Just
Yeah,
throw the glove away.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Um, there's been talk. Actually, let's take our time out now. When we get back, we'll talk about whether the club has any other interesting players that they could turn into a return. My players that I thought should go are Taylor Ward, Kobe Mayo, but I admit that a Mayo trade much more likely to happen in the offseason because Mayo's not a guy that a contender's looking to pick up right now. And then I threw in the names of Kittredge and Cano. My three that I'd like to keep are Rogers, Rutschman, and Kramer. But we'll talk more about this when we get back. But first, I got to tell you about the Costa Sin. And guys, I always ask for help. Can I get some thumbs? All right, got six of them. Got six of them once again for the Costa Sin. Two great locations. I'll talk about Timonium first, the newer location. They've been open exactly a year now at the Timonium location. It's above the grandstand at the race course, right next to the OTB. They're there open for lunch and dinner. They've got specials for both. Same great menu that you can get out at North Point Boulevard at 4100 North Point Boulevard. Same great atmosphere and great attentive hospitality, and the food is, we don't have to really talk that long about that because it's just very, very good. That's it. The other location, 4100 North Point Boulevard, that's the one that you need to make your crab reservations. If you want steamed crabs, 410-477-1975 is the number. Call and reserve your crabs. Find out about the price points, the availability, and whether they got enough crabs for you out there so your party doesn't go up in smoke. Go to the Costas Inn, 410-477-1975, North Point Boulevard for crabs. All right, we're back now. Luke, is there anybody else that I didn't include in my article today that you think that the club could entertain some interest in?
No, I thought you hit on everything. Like I don't see any interest in like Leody Taveras as a fifth outfielder type. I don't see that. I don't see any interest in Tyler O'Neill.
No, there's one club that has interest in
Yeah.
Tyler O'Neill. And that's the
Um,
club that's got his contract for
yeah.
another 17 million
Um,
for next
you
year.
know, maybe like a Rico Garcia as a sell high. I
Yeah,
could see that. He's 32 years old. So this is probably the best year he's ever going to have as a reliever in the big leagues. So that would be kind of like a Jorge Lopez sort of sell high.
yeah,
And by the way, in 22, when nobody was real sure what Mike Elias was going to do, you did point out Jorge Lopez as someone who you thought was going to go as a sell high. And so see if you could call your shot again with one of these relievers. But the really interesting name that you brought up in your story was probably Adley Rutschman,
Yeah.
other than the couple that I mentioned before. Um, the decision time is coming quicker on him than I think anybody probably
He's
anticipated.
got one more year of control, right?
Correct. And
2027.
you don't know what that year is going to look like because of a potential work stoppage. Is it a 120 game season? In that case, do you have potentially like 60 games with them before you have to make a decision at a modified trade deadline? If you're going to look into extending him, do you really want to see what Adderley Rutschman looks like at age 32, 33, 34? I'm not so sure I do. The other thing, like how much do you want to invest how much money do you want to invest in the catcher position where one foul tip can change the course of both catchers' careers? And then uh, what kind of what volume of games do you want Sammy catching long term? Coming into the year, I think that the Orioles thought that he would catch like twice a week. It's been more than that. It's been more like 3, 4 times a week. And I think he might have caught at this point more than Adley has this year.
I think
So,
that's probably accurate.
and the other thing is, physically, how big is Sammy going to get? He's 21 years old. He's already a big, big kid. And how much do you really want? So, if he's going to get any bigger, how much do you really want him catching? Even if he has the physical tools. And there's a lot of things that I think you have to sort through and all that. But I, I would entertain uh, dealing Adley at the deadline to see if you can get the kind of bites that you're looking for to build the team in a different way. Because I think at this point, I think we can all be adults and understand that if you're trying to build a championship club and if that's the goal, then Adley and Gunnar as your 1-2 or 2-1, whatever where you want to put them in, that's a pretty soft 1-2. And so you try to maybe build a different way. And so it's a shame that it has come to this because we thought that Adley and Gunnar were going to lead the Orioles to bigger things than just one division title. But I mean, the team's been, and I'm not trying to pin how the team has played over the past 2 years on those two guys. Like they're, they've have held up their end of the bargain since coming into the organization for sure. But there does come a time where you have to try to win in different ways when it's not working.
Ross, your thoughts on Rutschman as to
I would,
whether would you
yeah.
trade him?
No, I wouldn't. I would hate to see Basayo behind the plate 5 times a week. No, he didn't even catch that many in the minor leagues. To me, he's that would be a disaster. And that if you can find another catcher somewhere, go ahead. But I think Rutschman. I mean, you don't have any. You have nobody in the minor leagues that can come up, and maybe Huff can come up and back up or whatever.
Huff's going to be a free agent right now.
But didn't he sign with? Didn't he sign back?
I don't think this time he signed back. Has he, Luke?
I don't know. The last I saw that was that
I think he elected free agency this time.
And
Yeah,
so he will sign.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I just don't think Rushman's. Obviously, it depends on where you want to go. If you think you're going to get the playoffs this year, which is probably not a really good chance of doing that, they're going to have to play tremendously. But I would be.
Ross, what is the number that you'd be comfortable, the number of years and the dollars that you'd be willing if you don't trade Rutschman? And I've listed him as somebody I don't want them to trade. But
right.
What dollars are you talking about?
What is he?
Him?
What is he? 28.
28 right now.
And that's four. I'd go 4 years for whatever the going price is.
Yeah,
right. So
you're looking at $100 million.
Well, with 2 years before free agency, Cal Raleigh signed a 6-year deal worth about $105 million.
Right.
And so Adley's going to want north of that. Actually, Ken Rosenthal wrote a column, a notebook piece that was published today on The Athletic, and he touched on Adley and the decision that the Orioles have with Adley. And he said at this point, the Orioles would have to make him basically an Oriole for life. give him like an 8-year deal. And
I'm not
I'm not
not
interested in
not
that.
interested.
I'm just not interested in seeing what Adley looks like deep into his 30s.
Yeah.
And I don't think the club is real interested in that either. Look, and not to be totally harsh, but you already made one mistake picking the wrong guy in 2019. Don't make another mistake extending
Right,
this guy until he's
extending him for 8
36.
years.
Yeah, no.
Well, and that's the danger you have if you don't make a change at the general manager position, is that Elias is invested and
Mhm.
is more likely to double down on the same mistake that he made 6 years ago. He's more likely to feel like, hey, I want to prove I'm right rather than what's the right thing for the team. I have no interest in an 8-year deal for Adley Rutschman.
No, neither do I.
Yeah.
Anybody.
I mean, he's already and look, like I said, Adley has held up his end of the bargain. He's been a solid soldier for this club. He is not the same player he was athletically, even in 22 or 23. Just isn't. And like, I'm not really interested in seeing what that athleticism looks like in his mid 30s.
Right. I agree. I agree. All right. Well, that's a look at the trade deadline. Is there anything you think? Remember the column I wrote last year, Luke? I said the Orioles are out of it, but there's a guy that I thought that they could get at the deadline last year that might be worth not only acquiring, but signing to an extension of 3 or 4 years with Dustin May.
Yes.
I still would have rather they had done that than signed Zach Eflin again or brought Chris Bassett in. But is there anybody out there, even though they're not a contender this year, a serious contender at the moment, is there anybody would you like to see them bring in a piece or two for the bullpen? Or, I don't know. What else would you like to see them accomplish at
What
the
about your
deadline?
boy Reed Detmers?
I like Mr. Detmer. I like Mr.
For
Detmer.
background, Stan wanted the Orioles to acquire Reed Detmers when it would have cost a song.
I was projecting that they offer Ryan Mountcastle for Detmers 2 years ago.
When's Mountcastle coming back?
You know what?
Uh,
That's a good question. He broke his
Yeah.
foot in April, and I
Not
haven't
not
heard.
really that interested in that.
Yeah.
Well,
The other thing is Westberg too. He'll be back next year, won't he?
He'll be back next year. Yeah.
yeah.
And
I
that's a
wrote
big
that
piece.
that Nathan Skidmore wrote a piece about player that the Orioles should get is Matt Chapman.
I saw that.
And again, it's like clickbait. I don't want Matt Chapman at 30. He's got like 6 years to go on an 8-year contract or something.
You know who
like
else would like the Orioles to trade for Matt Chapman?
that. Buster
The
Posey.
Giants.
The
Yeah,
Giants.
the Giants would
Hey,
love that.
Yeah.
somebody told me over there that is the biggest cluster
Yeah.
of all time, and they went and got somebody in the front office that was the beginning of the slide that they went on when they could have got probably Sabian.
Right.
But
It's-
this
Is
unbelievable.
Giants,
Was
the
Buster
Giants-
ready for that job?
It doesn't look like it.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you can't you bring a college guy in, and that's like these I don't know why they do it. They bring these college people in, especially at the lower levels of the minor leagues, when you need experienced guys there, because that's the foundation of the Orioles. The Orioles are that way. They have a lot of guys that have never even played ball. They played college, but they never played any higher than that.
Yeah.
And that kills that answers a lot of questions for me. But going to Hagerstown and seeing Shane, he's got a lot of double, triple A, and some big league guys there. Some of the guys they don't even know how to line up for a relay.
Right.
These are triple A guys.
I thought you were going to say they don't have a lineup for the national anthem.
Well, they probably have trouble, but no, some of that, and they go, how do you? The idea is to go out and get in a straight line. They didn't know how to do that.
Right.
These guys are triple A guys. That tells you what an outfielder. He goes, how do you go back on a ball and catch it? That's how you line up for a.
Don't
I'll
get
tell you.
me
I'll tell you
started.
another one. Base hit to right field,
Mhm.
runner at second, and the runner the runner goes. The guy got the base hit. He's running. Now it's a runner at first base, and they get the base hit. He's running to third base. He turns and looks at the ball in right field. It gets thrown out. He goes, "What are you doing? Looking at the?" He goes, "That's the way we were taught." He goes, "That's the reason you're here, because you don't do that." I'm telling you guys, some of it, I was amazed at some of the stuff that I heard that I'm just totally. It makes a lot of sense by what you're seeing now. I mean, we had all that stuff in every era of baseball. You had this stuff that's happening now. The difference is it didn't happen as often as it does now. And when it happens, no one says nothing. No coach, no player, no vet, no manager. They'll either do it after the game or they don't do it during it. Shit, you made a mistake, a dumbass mistake. You had a coach, a manager, or a veteran player up your butt. They
Let
don't
me
do that now.
let me ask you about one player now. I want your both of your opinion because I respect it. Jackson Holiday. I won't get into the whether he was worthy of the 1-1. I was all for him being picked.
It wasn't a great draft,
It
and
it wasn't a great draft. That's true. Yeah, are his problems this year still related to the Hammett bone?
could be. It was a very long recovery for him. It was like it's a 6 week injury that was for some reason stretched out
10
to like
weeks. Like,
3 months. I mean,
yeah.
uh, the one thing that keeps popping up for me is that he's struggling with velocity up, like 95 plus at the top of the zone. Now, there are a lot of hitters who struggle with that, but one of the things, like when you go 1-1, one of the things that you're expected to do is be able to hit velocity really in all quadrants of the zone. And he's struggling with velocity up top.
Yep.
And
It's
I
just
could now I
it's
do
frustrating. I also think he was entirely rushed too quickly
Sure.
to the big leagues. And
correct.
this gets back to the John Angelo's tenure and the underfinancing that the ball club had. Rather than go out and get a real player,
And
they could
not
have
Tony
always
Kemp.
what's that? Not
Not
Tony
Tony
Kemp.
Kemp. Right.
A real player that would have caused you not to have to rush Holiday
Yep.
to the big leagues. They didn't do it. And they did that Takamami promotion with the t-shirt, his major league debut. I mean, it was a terrible look, the whole thing, how they
They
rushed.
fell for the pressure of the media
Yeah.
and the fan base, which was awful. And it's hurt the kid. It's
Yeah.
really hurt him.
I will
All
say
right.
this. I thought he had a pretty solid year last year. And I do expect him to have a much better second half than he has shown in
Let's hope so. Let's hope so.
because yeah, like I will in defense of him, he missed all of spring training.
Yep.
And spring training, as Ross knows, is 6 weeks for a reason. It's supposed to get you ready for a 6 month season. That's what it's designed to do, and he missed that totally. And I, I hope in the
Okay.
second
That's
half of the
reasonable.
season,
That's a reasonable. It's just
I hope in the second
And
half
you
of the
know he
season,
rushed when he was on rehab. You know
Yeah.
he was hurrying to get
Yeah.
uh back and
Yeah.
to do more than he had to
oh, I'm
do.
sure that his teammates, or well-meaning teammates, are blowing up his phones. They're like, "Hey, when you coming back? When you come back? When you come back?" You know,
How you feeling? How you
how
feeling?
you feeling? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
guys.
there's some.
That's gonna do it for this edition of the Monday Baseball Chat. What are we doing next week? Are we gonna do it on Monday before the Home Run Derby?
How about we get someone like a former Oriole who has like been an all-star before, and we could talk all-star memories or something like that. Want to try something like that?
That sounds
Maybe.
interesting.
I don't know.
Get bored.
Mike Bordick?
Yeah.
All right. I'll
Well,
try.
Bordick is a
I'll ask him.
Bordic's great. He's got a
I'll
lot to talk about too.
I'll call Bordick this week and see if we can get
Right.
him for next Monday. All right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Uh, have a good week ahead and enjoy this last week of baseball before the All-Star break. All right.
Go USA.
That's right. USA tonight at 8 o'clock. Spain beat Portugal 1-0 in the early game today, and the US plays Belgium tonight at 8 o'clock on Fox. That's going to do it for today. Orioles play the Cubs tomorrow night, Wednesday night, and Thursday's an afternoon game, right?
Thursday night, 6:35
Tonight.
start.
Okay, all three are going. Okay. Then we've got the Kansas City Royals Friday, Saturday, and all right. That's going to do it for Ross Grimsley, Luke Jackson. I'm Stan the Fan Charles. Want to remind you that the new issue of Press Box is out. It came out a week later than usual, but it's out with Kevin Brown on the cover. Dave LaMonaco wrote a terrific piece called Magic in the Booth. That's going to do it for today. Thanks to Warnken Law and the Costas Inn. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.